Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Geeks by Gaslight Podcast, the show you need to listen to for your insight into the many wide worlds of geek culture. I am your host, Carroll, and I have two fantabulous guests here with me today. First, we have the writer of Comic Critical. You know him, you love him, Mr. Dre Best.
I'm fantabulous now?
Damn straight you are. Love that guy. Also, we have another very special guest for you. First time on the show, Mr. Luke Rex, aka Shred. How you doing there?
Whoa, I'm here. Hello, how are you doing?
Welcome to GBG, dude.
Welcome to the
What's
fucking
up?
party.
So, little do you listeners know, I've actually been in all the episodes before this. I've just had nothing to say.
Oh,
Hype!
But I'm here, I have a voice.
I was
have an
waiting
opinion
for
on
you.
things.
Yeah,
I was
honestly, we've just been like tossing things around. We just figured he would, if he would speak, then it would have to come naturally. But he's finally found his purpose.
We
That
have,
is-
No hot
Yeah.
takes here.
we actually have around 60 people like in the call ready to record.
Exactly.
We just hit the button and whoever starts talking first gets to go.
It's an awesome system.
Yeah.
Foolproof. In fact, but we have let's kick off with talking about some trailers that happened. Two trailers here to start off. Let's talk about the trailer for Doolittle, which is this it kind of surprised me to see a movie starring Robert Downey Jr. like another like big sort of like it's not the same as like a Marvel movie, but like another like big blockbuster. It's sort of surprising that he would want to jump right into that seemingly so soon after Endgame. But what did you guys think of the Doolittle trailer?
It was fine looking. It didn't really look like anything too special. I was more kind of trying to figure out like its purpose, like what it was trying to do. I thought all the animals looked fine. I kind of understand. The impression I got from this was that this movie was supposed to be a bigger deal than it turned out.
Maybe.
And the studio's a little worried about it, and that's why it's coming out in January.
Yeah, I guess that January release date.
I mean, once April like runs in, everyone will just be like, yeah, everyone just forgets the January movies anyway.
Yeah.
Like January through March is just a weird time for movies in general.
Yeah, it's sort of it's traditionally a dead zone, but like sometimes movies have come along and like capitalize on the fact that it's not traditionally, it's like not really a big part of like for example, Deadpool came out in February, on Valentine's Day, the first one, and blew the roof off the place because it was because it had no competition and no one was expecting anything, big around that time, and so it really made the most of that.
And Disney like using, because like December used to be dominated by Harry Potter, then Harry Potter ended and it kind of like became this like weird zone again. And then Disney was like, actually, Disney means, or like December means Star Wars, and everyone was like, okay, well, fuck.
Until they didn't.
Yeah.
Until they're like, hey, I know, let's put out a Star Wars movie in fucking like May, whatever the fuck they did. And they tried to tank their franchise.
Yeah.
God, really, we really did get like 2 Star Wars movies and within like 5 months of each other, and it sucked.
Damn, we did that.
God, no, but like, like I'm really impressed. Like for a January movie, that's like sort of like putting this into context. I thought that the trailer was, it was kind of charming. It was, obviously it had this sort of like whimsical, adventure-y kind of.
I mean, it's just a whimsy family movie to watch.
Yeah. It's weird because like I think the last time we ever heard anything about Dr. Doolittle, it was like an Eddie Murphy comedy vehicle, like set in like modern day. And I'm pretty sure that was like a departure from like I honestly don't really know much about where Dr. Doolittle comes from.
Yeah, whitewashing wins again.
Well, because at the time, I believe it was that, when Eddie Murphy was, was like a cash cow and was basically like, can do no wrong, will print money forever and always.
Yeah.
They were just like giving him everything. And so they're like, Doolittle modern day comedy where you're just like a dude and he's a dude, normal regular dude who talks to animals, and it
was probably fine.
But yeah, the cast is insane for this. Downey, Antonio Banderas, Rami Malek, who just won the Oscar last year or this year, I suppose.
My boy
John Cena,
Randy.
hype for John Cena.
Always.
Octavia Spencer, my boy Tom Holland.
Never felt so targeted. What?
Ray Fiennes, Marion Cotillard, Selena Gomez, big names.
No.
Octavia Spencer. Yeah, it's just like really, really good cast. Michael Sheen.
You know what's weird?
What?
I remember when Tom Holland was announced for this, and then suddenly all the official stuff I was seeing around Dr. Dolittle was all set photos of Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland.
I remember that. That was weird.
And Tom Holland's not in this trailer at all.
Yeah,
I guess
unless he plays an animal or something.
No,
I did not see him.
I'm pretty sure that's what it. I'm sure that's what most of this cast is. Cena will be like a.
Wasn't he the tiger? I thought he was the tiger.
Maybe he's the tiger. That's hype. But he can, he can be. It's because that's how they get for these movies and the Jungle Book movie that came out. The reason that they can get so many A-list celebrities to be in these because it's not a big time commitment for them. Most of them won't be doing any of the mocap. So it's just for animated movie. It's just come in for a week and record.
And yeah, here's your paycheck.
And here's a couple $1,000.
Remember Christopher Walken orangutan?
I do. Holy shit, that was hype.
That was awesome.
That was hype because there was the one song in the movie, and it's
it's who are we giving the song to? Christopher Walken. But
what's weird about that is because the King Louis character is not in the original Jungle Book. It's
he's in one of the most iconic characters from the movie.
He's in the Disney movie.
Yeah.
But because the true in the book, it's originally the Banderlog, the monkeys, they kidnap Mowgli and they want him to be their king to teach them how to be more human. It's not just the king. It's not just the weird King Louis guy. He orchestrates them and I want you to teach me specifically. It's the whole group wants to become humans like Mowgli, and so they kidnap him. And Kaa is weirdly a badass. Kaa rules. They made him kind of a bitch in the movie, but Kaa hypnotize because he's got the power to hypnotize people. He hypnotized the entire most of the Banderlog, and then he just eats them.
Jesus.
That's awesome.
It's super metal. The the fucking Jungle Book is metal as hell. But that's beside the point. Anyway, this seems harmless. I'm interested to see where Downey's career goes. And so yeah.
I mean, anything that's not Tony Stark is good by me.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I hate Tony Stark, obviously. I just I want Downey to just I don't know what the word is. Just get out there, get some variety.
Expand.
Yeah, expand. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Go make a movie for $6 at a 7-Eleven you drive by frequently.
The Judge 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yes!
Oh no.
Okay. Actually, one thing about Downey. Why is he doing this accent?
Because he can.
I guess so. Yeah. It doesn't sound good.
It doesn't sound bad.
I'm not a fan. Every time Downey talked, I'm like, why?
Okay, it's not it's not better or I don't think it's better or worse than Cumberbatch's American accent because that's always weird. And it's we let him do that and it's fine. That's just let Downey be British. It's okay.
All right.
But moving on to a trailer for this the most hype movie of all time.
I am excited for this.
I'm so ready. My body is ready for Bloodshot. This film, this piece of cinema, starring the greatest actor of our time, Mr. Vinathan Diesel. Let's just preface this. Dre, what can you tell us about Bloodshot as a character?
Okay, so Bloodshot's really interesting. Valiant Comics is a kind of... They were a lot bigger a couple years ago in the 90s. They've kind of fallen a little bit in recent years. Mm-hmm. They're basically the third biggest connected, superhero-ish universe in comics. They produce less, but they're much more editorially, focused. Uh-huh. So it's supposed to be like kind of like a more streamlined version of the Marvel or DC universe. Bloodshot is kind of one of the core members of the Valiant universe. He's one of the few characters who almost always has a book coming out. He's one of the few parts. I'm not the most familiar with Bloodshot.
He's the one I've heard of in relation to Valiant.
Yeah, he's maybe their like second or third biggest character. And basically his whole thing was that he's a rogue like mercenary from like this evil corporation, and they frequent while he was Red Soldier or Winter Soldiering around, right?
Okay, yeah.
They kept wiping his memories. So he has all these different, like, basically like hundreds of layers of like lost memories.
Jesus.
He's like this, he's been like genetically tampered with so he can like regenerate. He has a bunch of connections to this team called the Harbingers and the corporation that made them. He's a pretty basic character with a lot of like small complexities that make him interesting. And
if we ever know any actor in the world who's the master of nailing the intricate complexities of a character, it's Vin Diesel.
Exactly. This movie looks fine.
Okay. No, it doesn't. The movie looks real bad, and I'm hype.
I'm very hype for what's it called?
Bloodshot.
Bloodshot.
Okay, so the gimmick of the movie is like based on the trailer is that the guy Vin Diesel, he's out for revenge because they killed his family, and that's the one thing Diesel cares about. But in fact, it's just like they're rewriting his memories basically to make him this evil company is rewriting his memories to make him an assassin. Where like they like trick it to make it seem like, oh, this is the person that killed your family, and then they go kill him, but he's actually a target for the evil corporation. And then they're like, oh, okay, wipe his memory, and then it'll be like, and then this person he'll like rewrite the memory so that another person that they want dead killed his family. It's like that part seems interesting because it's an interesting twist on like the tradition and like the most played out trope in these sort of like B action movies where it's like, the guy's out for revenge to kill the person who killed his family, right. You know, because that's like, when have we not seen that done and done badly?
Because has anyone seen Upgrade at all?
I have not.
I heard it was good.
It follows a pretty similar premise of like a guy's wife or family gets killed, but in the Upgrade he also gets like augmentations basically.
Yeah.
Where he just goes on like a killing spree against these guys. But the thing is, Upgrade is just like an exceptional action film.
That's what I heard about it.
It has like awesome like camera work and editing. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
With something like this, I'm not too down on it because with something like this, I don't really expect too much in terms of like the actual story. I think this movie could be very entertaining.
It's just a Vin Diesel action film,
right? I think it could be very.
You're not expecting like Shakespeare,
of course, because there's nothing more hype than Last Witch Hunter.
Because Bloodshot, I think it sold me on the title alone. It's just like it's like a video game you would hear in like from like The Simpsons,
right?
It looks. Okay, here's what I'm saying. It looks real bad. It looks like Venom caliber. To me,
it really doesn't.
Oh, don't mention Venom.
No, because it just like that. The thing with Venom was that movie was straight garbage, and I enjoyed every second of it. And I'm thinking maybe we'll get a similar thing with Bloodshot, where it's just abysmal. Because it's like, do you guys remember The Last Witch Hunter?
This does not look as bad as The Last Witch Hunter.
It might look as bad.
It really doesn't. It looks like
because Vin Diesel can't act. He can't, and it's epic.
I feel like as long as Bloodshot doesn't like take itself seriously, I'm like on board.
I think most of these non-Fast and Furious Vin Diesel action movies do take themselves seriously.
Oh, I was interested because the director. This is like the director's first big like directing like part outside of. Did you guys see anything from Love, Death, and Robots?
I know about it, but I haven't seen it.
Well, okay, so it's an anthology series about just a bunch of different like sci-fi concepts.
Yeah.
It wasn't. A lot of them felt like way too try hard, but one of the few things I liked was the first short, which was what this guy directed. And the thing that was really good about that was its actual like visuals, and it has like a really good like action scene in it. It's really like well paced and well done. And that's why I was like, oh, okay, that's why they got him. This guy probably has some kind of idea for how to make like visually interesting action.
Yeah. If this is gonna kick off, if they're gonna actually try and make a Valiant film universe, do you think that could really work? Because a lot of the characters, I feel like, if the movies are all really, really good, obviously they can find an audience and build a connection with people the same way like Thor did and Iron Man did, because no one gave a shit about them before. Well, some people did, but like significantly less people sort of gave a shit about those characters until like the MCU happened. Could you, if hypothetically, or just like assuming that all of that like they continue to make movies and to create like a Valiant universe, and they're like good to fine, can you see this becoming a successful franchise?
Yeah, totally. I think Valiant's universe is something I haven't really. All the concepts are really interesting, and I think most people, every time I've shown somebody Valiant stuff, they really click with it immediately, because it's one of those things where it's all unified, but every different book, every different character completely fits into like a different genre or type of story, and they feel more distinct than most Marvel or DC heroes from like each other. It's very. You could really give somebody Bloodshot, and then you could give somebody Quantum Woody, and it still works within the same universe, but they feel totally different. And I think each Valiant like character can spin off into a very good film like franchise.
No, I mean, like, there's just been so many different universes that have just like failed, because like a lot of people like, yeah, you can argue MCU films aren't like high art, right? But the way that like
they
created this universe just so consistently, and like with like so few bombs while making them, is like awesome.
I just think that the biggest testament to those films is the connection that they've made with an audience. You can argue the merit of the film. You can argue the merit of the films all you want.
Yeah,
and I don't really have any interest in that debate or conversation. But I don't think it's a question how much the Marvel movies have resonated with audiences.
Yeah, people will get pissed if you say anything bad about them, like how fucking bad Spider-Man Homecoming is. Suddenly everybody gets mad at you and thinks you're the asshole. And it's like, I don't know, man. Maybe you're the asshole for liking a bad movie.
And then you got like DC that like started off like super rough, but like more recently I felt they really started to kind of come around.
Yeah,
with all that.
They're finding
things. Then you got shit like the Dark Universe, and that shit bombed like in one movie.
and it's like, why? You made the best movie of that year.
No, two. They bombed in two movies. Remember, they were supposed to make. Well, no, The Mummy was actually their second try, because the first one that they tried to make it work was Dracula Untold. They were like, Dracula Untold is going to kick off this universe, and then Dracula Untold bombed, and they're like, that's not a part of it anymore. We're not doing that. The real kickoff to our universe.
The Mummy
is the Mummy, and then it bombed again, and it was hilarious.
Oh my god!
And they're like, I guess we don't have like Angelina Jolie and like Johnny Depp in these movies anymore.
Man, we were going to get Bride of Frankenstein. We were going to get Jekyll and Hyde. It was going to be Hyde.
Guillermo, please let us put the Dark Universe, the Dark Universe logo in front of Shape of Water. Please.
I really need to see if the Dark Universe website is still up.
No,
it has to be.
It'd be so hype though. Throw that shit in the Wayback Machine. Okay. All right. Moving on from Bloodshot. There has been a shakeup at Marvel Studios regarding the.
Did we lose Spider-Man again?
No, we lost him, but now he's back. It's fine.
But I thought we lost. Every time Marvel gets a shakeup, I just kind of assume Spider-Man's status has changed. You know,
it's a very fair assumption to make. No, this involves the president of Marvel Studios, like the film division, Mr. Kevin Feige. He's been, if you're not familiar, he's been sort of like the kingpin of the recent success of mainstream Marvel in terms of like the movies. He's been a producer on every single film that Marvel Studios has ever made. And it's just, he's been like the creative visionary that's sort of drived, that's sort of like drived this phenomenon. But interestingly enough, the various television spin-offs, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Defenders, Cloak and Dagger, Agent Carter, Runaways, all of those other projects have not been produced by him at all. They've been produced under the Marvel Television banner by a guy called Jeff Loeb, who's been the head creative director of that. And that has now changed. In a new initiative, presumably coming down from the higher ups at Disney, Kevin Feige is now to take over all of Marvel's content production, including TV and comics, maybe?
Yes. Basically, So basically, it seems like Feige is basically running as a the last stop before you have to talk to the mouse.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be communicating between all Marvel subsidiaries and Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So functionally, he's like a short road stop. He's supposed to make everything flow easier, so there isn't as much calling that needs to go down. It seems like it really is making. It seems like the only thing it's really doing is making Feige have to check his email twice as often.
Yeah.
I don't.
I guess he's making a Star Wars movie?
Yeah.
Fine. Sure. Okay.
You need to relax.
He really
Feige,
does.
Whatever your name is.
Listen, all I know is his Starbucks near him is fucking happy about it. This man's probably is fucking jacked on coffee.
I mean, you have to be like
nice.
Coffee, cocaine, and heroin is like how he has to get through all this.
Feige
He's a busy man. I
meditating
applaud
is
him.
still vibrating faster than the Flash going through a wall. Like this, but I've been reading everywhere to find out what this promotion really means for Feige, and nobody knows.
Yeah.
He has more power.
Like a benefit of this possibly is that, because we remember for the longest time, Kevin Feige also had to answer. He didn't have to just answer to he didn't answer to Disney directly. He had to answer to the CEO of Marvel, who's Ike Perlmutter, who's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, he's a legitimate crazy person.
I think we did get a new photo of him recently.
I think he wasn't he like hanging out with. We got a photo of him, like hanging out. He like was hanging out with Trump.
Yeah, I think because
he's a guy. He was a guy that had legitimately never let a photo be taken of him since like 85, and it was like insane. But no, he's like this old. He was like this old dude. But and like, Feige's like, I'm sick of doing this. I don't want to work under this guy anymore. Hey, Alan Horn, can you help me like restructure all of Marvel so that I don't have to answer to this guy anymore? And he's like, fine. So that's how Kevin started working directly for Disney. But Perlmutter still had, the stake and control in working over the television division. And so that sort of created kind of a split, you can say. And I did feel that. There was a time where I feel there was like a notable shift in that's why we got the Inhumans show instead of the movie, because that was a passion project for Perlmutter.
It was an angry project for Perlmutter.
It was, I guess.
It was. I don't know. I don't fucking need the mutants. Who gives a shit about them? They're not actually real human beings, he argued in a legitimate court case, trying to get some tax offs for mutant merchandising.
Hype.
Perlmutter is insane. It doesn't surprise me Feige's done this. There's a bunch of rumors flowing around that Perlmutter might be getting outed in subtle ways.
Oh, okay.
This is a way to get him out, but have him save face and not be like removed,
Like publicly embarrassed and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
yeah. I mean, I won't miss him.
Right. But I think the more pressing thing is that Jeff Loeb is out as Marvel TV at the head as allegedly. And we're starting to see a bunch of TV projects get canceled.
Yeah. I mean, to me, like there were two big blows to me, personally, because I was a big fan of Cloak and Dagger. I've been meaning to actually talk about it on the podcast forever, but I have never. It never happened, and I'm sure I'll find it. I'm sure I'll figure it out and do it eventually. But I'm a real big fan of that show. It was real good. And so to see that go after only 2 seasons, it's like it's a bit of a heartbreaker. It's not like that ending doesn't work as an ending. But I felt like it was there was so much more room to grow after the way it ended that I'm going to be disappointed that we're not going to see those characters again for a while, if at all. And also, they canceled the upcoming, they had planned to do a Ghost Rider show starring Diego Luna, who real big fan of. I think that was on a mixed season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that character and that arc with him was a big highlight. Really, really liked his portrayal of Robbie Reyes. And so it was a really enticing concept to find out what happened to that guy, because he was only in the show for the first part of a season, and then he popped up at the end. He was not around for very long at all. And so I was really excited to see what he's been up to, and what happened to that character. But it looks like that's off the table now. The Hellstrom show has not been canceled. I'm thinking maybe it's a possibility that the reason for that is because it directly ties into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and maybe because that's like a post-Feige like takeover type deal thing, where it's like maybe all of the old TV stuff might be stricken from MCU canon. I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well,
I really only have no, I was saying, so just 2 things. So yes, the Dark Universe website is still up.
Nice!
All right.
And secondly, so like this whole situation also affects the Netflix shows, correct?
Yes.
I mean, those have already been canned. Those have been dead.
I get that, but like,
those were Marvel TV stuff.
Because like what I enjoyed so much, because I only base my knowledge off like the Netflix shows really. Mm-hmm. I was never really big on like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or like Agent Carter and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But like what intrigued me about their shows is like how loosely they were set in the MCU universe is all. So like, yeah, I think they would like refer to the MCU at points.
They would.
But like for the most part, it was still like a pretty self-contained story, I think.
Allegedly, and that's because Kevin Feige and Jeff Loeb don't like each other. And don't want to have to talk to each other.
That's a shame.
Yeah, so it just kind of worries me that like whatever future shows they come up with is just going to like refer more to the movies. And I don't know. I
mean, and also the way television is generally produced, it's produced way closer to the release date and like the deadline than the films are. You know, because it's like TV is filmed closer to release date than movies. Because there's less because there's like so much less pre-production and post-production that needs to be done. And it the filming, because it's like a regular show, like it's filmed over like a comparably shorter period of time for one episode. Although, then, because it's just a smaller part of a whole series. So lining that up time-wise with the production schedule of a film can be hard if you're working under separate divisions. I'm guessing that will get a lot easier now that that the TV and the film divisions are going to be run by the same guy. That scheduling is probably going to be a lot easier. Yeah, and I would be really, really disappointed if everything that Loeb did got stricken from Marvel canon. I can see that happening pretty easily, though. I mean, maybe, I'm sure, maybe even Agent Carter could stick around, because that's the one thing they referenced in the movies.
I could see them doing a Coulson's back thing where it's he was where Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. just didn't happen and Coulson has been missing for years.
Maybe. Well, I mean, because I guess Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. maybe because he's do you guys care about spoilers for season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No,
don't. No, go ahead.
Okay, so Coulson dies.
Damn,
he's done
again.
He dies again. He's done, and then they brought him back as an alternate dimension clone that was possessed by an alien, but that guy's dead too. He's dead too, and now he's
awesome.
Now he's an LMD. I'm not kidding.
That's awesome.
Okay, that sounds like it a little sucks.
It might suck. We don't know how the LMD is going to work out yet, because that was just the hook for next season, which is going to be the final season.
Can we talk shit about Scott for a second?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. So we were all making tier lists of Marvel characters, right, in the MCU.
Oh,
this
yeah.
Scott had Coulson in the Who category.
You suck. Burn in hell.
He was like, "Oh, who cares about this guy? He's just in Avengers and then dies." And
he just kind of exists.
He doesn't remember shit about fucking Phase 1 movies at all, and he's just I don't really remember this guy.
Scott, Scott Heemstra, of course, a regular on this fine program.
And he's like, "Oh, what did this guy do?" And we're like, "He's the reason the Avengers are exist." He's like, "Huh? Yeah. Who?" I hate him. All right.
Right over. Fuck Heemstra. We're never letting him on the show again.
All right.
He's banned from GBG forever.
Welcome, Shred. You're welcome to our room. We're just your straight up replacement for Scott.
Yeah, you're Scott now.
All right, awesome, great. I've been a fan for years, or for however long you've done this show.
Like a year and a few months.
There we go.
I'm excited because I think there's something to be said for the TV shows having their own identity separate from the movies, but there was it was definitely a strong disconnect.
Yeah.
Between those that I felt should have been more. It should have been more apparent because straight up, the last season of the most recent season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does not make sense in the MCU timeline. Because it's set 1 year after the events of Infinity War. Because it's still set in the modern day, and it doesn't do the time skip of Endgame. And then it just the snap is never referred to. It's never acknowledged, and it's pretty baffling. I'm going to be honest with you, because they took time off. I assume the reason they took a year off was to let the dust settle for God damn it! It was to let the dust settle from the aftermath of and they
even Daredevil referenced a snap, right? Or
no?
Oh, really?
Listen, really, is it that big a deal?
Endgame, Thanos is referenced in the season before Endgame came out.
Okay, all right.
But that was before Infinity War came out. So there was and he was just the fact that Thanos was on his way to Earth and that there was a fight in New York was just briefly mentioned.
Okay, yeah.
Nothing's been the same since New York, if I'm being honest.
Superheroes in New York? Give me a break.
Nice. Anyway, I don't really have much else to say on this, except I hope that we get to see some of the characters that we've grown to know and love in the TV shows appear back again, but maybe have some stronger connective tissue to the film series. That would be, I feel like, the ideal turnout for this. I don't know which way it's going to go, but I really, really like Feige, so I'm optimistic.
You know what would suck?
What?
If, like, a Harvey Weinstein situation with Kevin Feige.
No, don't say that! I trust him too much.
Jeremy Renner.
No! Oh shit! He has a show.
Yeah.
Even after the whole thing?
I mean, like they're looking into it. Production is delayed.
just like digitally remove Jeremy Renner's face and replace him with like
from the Hawkeye show.
Yeah.
Nice.
Speaking of flaming disasters, Country Road, take me home.
That was to
the place, West Virginia. We fucked it up once again. $100.
Okay.
4 times the size of Fallout 4.
Welcome back to the now recurring segment on this fine podcast. The Fallout 76 dumpster fire updates.
Yeah, dude.
This fucking dumpster fire is bigger than the fire currently going on in California.
Listen, we've gone like a full month without Fallout 76 news, right?
Oh yeah, I think it was a full month.
Like, because there was that big update, and like it seemed to be kind of pulling itself together. And then this happened.
Do we have one of those like websites where it's like, how many days has it been since Bethesda fucked something up?
Maybe. No, we haven't talked about all of the Fallout 76 stuff on this show because I was just thinking maybe, because like, where does it end? You know?
Yeah.
If we talk about one
Carroll.
Fallout 76 controversy, we might have to talk about all of them, but this is just so goddamn funny.
Carroll, even if you did not want to talk about Fallout 76, I was going to. You would have to kick me out of this show.
It's going to be a coup. Or the revolution. Sure, it will ignite the revolution of GBG.
So, where do we want to start with this?
You guys take it over. I'm just gonna. I don't really know much.
For those of you that don't know, Bethesda dropped a special edition of Fallout 76, VIP pass, or if you will.
And what do you get in this VIP pass?
I mean, good question. You get, for something called Fallout First, $100. Seems pretty hefty, but listen up. You get like private servers.
Nice.
You get like what is it? Like 1,500 caps.
1,500 caps. You get infinite loot.
These all sound like things that would be real, and I would want them.
Yeah, and so after charging their fan base, their dedicated fan base,
wait,
$100.
There's the one important thing that you missed. There is a container, like a vault that you could put your weapons in, and I believe you could trade between your own characters. And that'll be very important.
You have
that sounds so useful. That sounds like a great tool.
You can store an infinite amount of items in there. It's awesome.
How nice that
all this
real
just for
thing
$100?
is.
Epic. All right. Anyway, we need to stop beating around this. So yeah. So after charging their fan base, their very passionate, dedicated fan base, $100. What do you know? Fallout First is broken.
Something broke in this game.
Wah, wah.
Carroll found his harmonica.
I found my harmonica. It's been in a box for like 2 years, and I'm obsessed with it.
Those private servers I brought up, they're not actually private.
What?
Like someone's like friend can see they're on the server and just join.
Hi.
That 1,600 caps, that's barely like $5 worth of stuff. Or it's like $10 or something. And
it's the budget of a Power Rangers episode.
And that infinite loot crate. This is the best part. completely destroyed your item. So the item you worked so hard for, the item you worked so hard for countless hours,
items you can pay for.
It can like disappear into the void forever, and there's nothing you can do about it.
It's just, they tell you it's a fucking. They tell you it's like a storage unit, but it's a fucking garbage disposal.
$100.
It's an incinerator.
It's so awesome.
When Edna Moan fucking has that fucking pit, that incinerator for household shit, that's what it is.
That's so good. Like, no, it's horrible, but it's so funny.
It's like, and it's really, the sad part is there are people who are still playing Fallout 76 through all this, and they're like playing it and they're trying to enjoy themselves, and some of them really are, and then they're like $100, all this shit. I want it. There are people who actually legitimately want it, and if you enjoy Fallout 76, that's fine. Do it. But this happened. They did this to you.
I could spend $100 on, let's see, like
you could buy
food.
every Fallout game currently. They're all on sale.
So Bethesda made a comment. They released a comment surrounding this new controversy.
Oh, did they?
Bethesda said that a small number of players with a large quantity of scrap are experiencing a display issue causing their scrap box to appear empty. We are actively working to address this issue, both internally and using the data and characters folks from the community have provided us. And that's it.
They're wiping their servers and getting getting Argentinian passports right now.
Guys.
It's so good.
But Elder Scrolls 6 hype.
Elder Scrolls 6 hype.
Where can we go from here?
This is awesome. This really makes me like look forward to like the next one.
It's going to be so much fun.
There's no way Fallout 76 is going to make any kind of comeback at this point. Because like No Man's Sky, like it released very poorly, but like through a bunch of updates and like some development, it released like a nationally finished game, and people like love it now.
Yeah, it got good.
And like Fallout 76 is like from a very notorious, well-known AAA company. And so even if they polish the game to like a T and make it like flawless, there's like no one's going to forget about all this.
Like this is so like, okay. I remember Skyrim being held up as Bethesda's most stable release.
Mm-hmm.
And even then people said it was unacceptable.
Yeah.
And every release has gotten worse and worse and worse. And it's fucked up. Where it's like, man, remember Skyrim? That bastion of functionality? Like, nice. At least, like, sure, the dragons flew backwards. But at least they flew.
They got airborne.
Like, it's absolutely brilliant. And if Bethesda, all Bethesda really needs to say to make it fine is just say it's on purpose and it's a it's like it's a parody. It's like art. It's like a fucking like Kafka-esque like test of the public.
It's just like, hey, we just thought we'd like do like some kinky EA roleplay.
Like something this.
You could buy Fallout 3 like 10 times instead.
You could.
Oh my god.
You could buy Fallout 4, the cockroach does not help, like 6.5 times.
Why would you buy Fallout 3 when you can buy the greatest garbage disposal known to video games?
Listen, there was
Fallout
a time where I was
Vegas is $3 right now.
$100.
I was excited for Fallout 76, and then I'm like, oh, I guess this is all happening. Never mind.
Yep.
It's kind of sad. I mean, I don't want to keep making fun of Fallout 76.
I do.
But it's just, I mean, I want it to be like a good game, obviously. Like, I never want something to be bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want it to be like a good product. A lot of people like worked on it.
Right.
A lot of energy put into it.
I'm sure a lot of people have definitely crunched and put all their effort into this game.
I really don't think Todd Howard has anything to do with Bethesda. He's just like he's like a spokesperson, basically.
It sucks.
He's like,
when he comes out
this
on
guy
E3.
this guy's charming. He's relatable, but he's just kind of sad.
I hate it when Todd Howard comes out and he makes all his stupid fucking jokes. And it's like, oh, did you hear our games are kind of buggy? And it's like, yeah, dude. Yeah.
Like,
you charge like, okay, Fallout 76, like, sure, it's $60, but if you actually wanted to play 76, you had to pay over $100 to play it. And it doesn't work.
Yeah, Fallout 76 was a little rough.
And then it asks you for another $100 and the product doesn't work. And then you're not able to get a refund for it. It's not on a system that allows refunds, which is illegal.
Yeah.
Also, fuck you.
Okay, yeah, fuck you. And I've mentioned this on pretty much every time we brought up Bethesda on the podcast. I've mentioned this, but I think it's worth noting now. My hometown is Bethesda, Maryland. That's where I grew up. So when everyone's saying how garbage and trash Bethesda's a dumpster fire, how could they do this? I just always giggle internally because I'm like, yeah, it be. I love my hometown. It's nice sometimes. But okay. Are we done bullying Bethesda anymore?
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much else to say.
It's
It's just kind of tragic.
Yeah. We got
like, we don't really have any hot takes.
Speaking
of hot takes.
Oh, so thank you!
Yes.
Awesome! Yes! Someone else have a transition. So, as we all know, Bethesda and Fallout 76 is a dumpster fire. Fires are hot. You know what else is hot? Hot takes! Guthrie's hot takes are burning their way into your home right now. Guthrie, take it away.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Guthrie's Hot Takes. Today I'm going to be announcing my new Netflix special, Guthrie's Hot Takes, triggered, uncut, uncensored, on Netflix because I've been canceled on Twitter, but I'm not canceled, but I'm saying I'm canceled ironically. This cost Netflix $50 million to make, and I'm laughing to the bank because they're in debt. And, in this special, I'm going to be dealing with the fact that this segment has stopped being funny. You know what sucks? Have you ever been on YouTube, you see those, Doomer music playlists or whatever? It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. I talked about this last time, but it's still pissing me off. Like, bro, shut the fuck up, you know? And it keeps getting worse. It's like every 3 fucking weeks, these motherfuckers invent a new genre to ruin. Like, bro, I don't know what dark wave is. I don't know how it connects to you being 25 years old and unemployed. But I don't fucking care. And so, you know, that's just a little sneak peek of the material I have planned. It's gonna be 7 fucking hours of me just complaining on a stage. Like, you know, I sound like I'm telling jokes, but I'm never actually telling jokes. And, yeah, it's personally great for me, but unfortunately I can't do these segments anymore because I signed an exclusivity contract. You know, all my sponsors will pull out if I start giving this stuff away for free because you have to subscribe to Netflix. So, that's what's up with me. I can't be... I'm contractually obligated to not do these anymore, and so... Yeah, you know, sucks for you guys, but I don't really care, but,
touchdown and I switch states. Rental with some Honda plate. My niggas eating, get a plate.
What's up? What do you mean, that they bugged me? What? They're hearing me record this right now. The 7-Eleven pizza deal fell through. No, I can't eat anymore. I was obligated. I signed the contract saying I'd only eat that. I threw out all my groceries, dude. No, you listen to me. Alright, fine. Hang up on me. And that's it for this episode of Guthrie's Hot Takes.
And we are back. Thank you, Guthrie. I now have of damage.
That was a pretty good Guthrie moment, I say.
I'm a little warm.
Let's put that up into the Pog Champ Guthrie moments. Okay, moving on to our favorite segment of the show, recommendations.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'll kick us off this time because I don't watch a ton of anime. I'm gonna be honest. It's not.
What are you talking about? You've talked about Dragon Ball Z for like at least two solid hours, if you count it all up, and Sword Art Online. You're basically a master otaku.
Don't say that.
What?
No.
You just love Dragon Ball Z and Sword Art Online. Is there anything wrong with that?
There's a lot wrong with that, actually. No, but no. I mean, yeah. Obviously, I'm like a huge DBZ fan. I talked about Naruto once, and then, but like, I decided to because there's this like thing that like there's like this show that's like occasionally popped up as like clips in like YouTube that like have like this thing, like this one clip from this show has like 7 million views, and YouTube's like don't you want to watch it? And I've like never watched it except this one time I decided to click on it. Anyway, I'm talking about Black Lagoon, which is a very, very interesting. It's a very interesting show. I really enjoyed watching it. I got through it. It's not that long, so it's a pretty easy time commitment, and I felt like that was like the major plus, that I didn't have to like fucking destroy my life schedule like I had to do with Naruto in order to watch it. But it's just like there are a lot of like weird. It's kind of weird that like clips from the show have like millions of views on YouTube. It's probably just because people like staring at Rebby's ass, but you know. That's acceptable. Anyway, the show's about this guy, Rock. He's like this like Japanese businessman type pushover dude. And he works for this shady company that kind of, this is in the first episode, that kind of like throws him under the bus. And he's like targeted with like he's like chosen to bring like information from one site to another. However, he gets kidnapped by a group of pirates. And he's sort of like, through meeting them, discovers that he's like he's not really happy with his place in life as just like this like conformist like businessman. He's like very, very disillusioned with corporate Japan, and so in the end, the whole situation gets resolved. Instead of and he like forms relationships with the pirates that kidnapped him. Kind of like Stockholm syndrome, but it's like not that bad. They even make a joke about it being kind of like Stockholm syndrome. But in the end, instead of just going back to his, he's like offered the chance to like go back to his old life after like this ridiculous life experience. But because he kind of in like the adventure, he kind of proved his mettle to the crew. He ends up like choosing to stay with them. And that's like the hook for the show. Is it's just like this sort of like normal-ish guy going on like who's like disillusioned with the sort of society that he came up in, choosing to take a different path. And it's fucking wild. They go
kind of like Joker.
Ow, my ears. No, it's really
I
not.
felt that.
It's not really like Joker, but maybe a little. Is it? No. No, it's just like I really, because it's a show that was, it has like, I mean, like a lot of it is like a lot of the appeal comes from the deuteragonist of the series, Revi, who you've probably seen a picture of her on like some like anime poster or body pillow or whatever the fuck, because she's like definitely the most marketable character due to her assets.
Her rump
and her chesticles are the.
That's a good word.
No, it's not.
It's quite
pretty
bad.
low. It's pretty low on like the word tier list.
Mm-hmm. Word tier list. The entire Oxford and Urban Dictionary. No. Let's do it. It'll take fucking forever.
Sounds kind of fun.
So it's you know, you don't really get to know a lot about Revi's past. The leader of he works for the name of the pirate group is called the Lagoon Company. Basically, they're shippers. They live in this town in, I believe it's like I think it's in like Thailand, called Roanapur. It's basically like, like the Star Wars town where like you will never find a larger hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah.
It's basically like that, but like, yeah, it's just basically like a criminal super town where like the cops are dirty, everyone's dirty, no one there is. It's just like it attracts, a bunch of criminals around the world. There's Hotel Moscow, which is like a Russian mafia, headed up by like a group of like these former like KGB guys that like when the Union failed, didn't want to ally themselves with the new Russia and instead like became like this criminal organization. But they have all these military guys. There's the Chinese triads, and like all of these characters have like bosses and like other forms, and their intricacies are fleshed out pretty well. And so the show has this really obvious sort of sense of like nihilism to it, where it's just like whether or not you subscribe to that ideology or not, it's I feel like it's implemented really well in the show, because there's like all these characters, and they bounce off of all the characters I feel like bounce off of each other really, really well. Like Rock has this sort of, because he's this sort of like, he's lived like a relatively normal life up until like around a year that like the events take place, like a little over a year that the events take place in. And he just and he's like constantly referred to as being like being in like the twilight area, where he's like on the edge of like in between, like, because he like still has he always like has the option to, like, unlike any of the other characters, really, he has like the option of a normal life, and he intentionally rejects it. And so I find him like a really like interesting protagonist, to like get into this like criminal underworld, and it's like contrasted by Revi, who's this sort of she's like I'd call her like the muscle of the group. She's like this super killer.
Me.
Kind of.
I'm the muscle.
Oh no! Just glad Scott has you to back him up. You're
not anymore after that Coulson shit.
No.
Not after calling him out like that.
So anyway, this show's sort of nihilism is really sort of apparent, and it's like balanced on whether or not this life choice is really what Rock wants. It seems like he does, but then there's like, because like in the entirety of his show, Rock never picks up a gun.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
He just like yeah, because he has like these like he has like these other roles, and like the leader of the company guy is this guy called Dutch, and he's clearly has his own, like, he was like a Vietnam veteran.
Oh,
but he's just kind of like he's clearly like guy. Yeah, he's clearly you can like see in like random shots, you see him like reading, like, because he does, there's like one of like the most like common like random activities you'll see him do. He's like just like reading philosophy books from like philosophers that have this sort of like darker nihilistic take on like life and humanity. And I'm sure that's like a more educated person than me would have picked up on all of those references specifically. But it was just sort of like apparent that this that he's he's an educated guy.
You say he's articulate?
Shut up. He would have voted for Obama for a third term. No, but and it's and then there's Benny, who's like the tech guy, but he really doesn't. It's weird because he's like a part of the main crew. He really doesn't like have much to do in terms of characters. He's definitely gets the least screen time of any of the main cast.
He looks like an asshole.
He's cool. He's hype.
Nah, he looks like an asshole.
Oh, he's pretty cool. No, but he's also I like him because he's voiced by Brian Drummond, who's the ocean dub voice of Vegeta. And I really like couldn't tell. And it's like awesome. He does like a really good job. And so there are a lot of these like the strength is in the character and thematic writing of the show, and how, you know, these, and like obviously there are like these ridiculously outlandish criminal like villains. Like there are these there are these two like Bulgarian like twins who were from like this royal family that got like deposed, and they got sold into a human trafficking ring where they were like forced to do a bunch of like fucked up black market like kid porn and stuff.
Nice.
Oh,
And it like drove them insane into like violent like psychopaths. It's like
Nice.
it's really like fucked up. And it's like it shows these monsters, but then it like shows how it's like it's so not their fault that they're like the worst people, like the worst people in like on Earth, because it's like in the end I feel like the point of that storyline was that they're really not, that they're just like they're kids who were put under this like horrible circumstances by society. It's just sort of like, again, it's a very bleak look on humanity. And like, because like Rock wants to like help these kids, but they're so far beyond help. It's like, it's depressing. It's sad. But it's very compelling. I found Revi's antics are always like fun to watch because she's just so violently boisterous. She's got like a super short fuse. And she's just like, she adds a lot of character to pretty much every scene that she's in. There's a lot more to say on this show, but I want to keep this kind of short and sweet. If you like bleak outlooks on humanity, on human nature, and some really, really dope action scenes, check out Black Lagoon. It's very, very interesting, and I had a really good time watching it.
So how do you think this is going to tie in with The Mummy?
Man, I forgot about the time where the creature of the creature, damn it. Maybe it's set in the dark universe.
That's what I thought the whole time. I was gonna you didn't bring up like the monster or anything.
The monster was the humans all along.
Huh. That sucks.
Hype. Okay. So that's pretty much all I have to say on that. Shred, what did you bring to show and tell this month?
So what I want to do is quickly talk about a fun little action film.
Mm-hmm.
We've already talked about Bloodshot.
Damn,
Jesus.
Ruined.
This is Bloodshot, but like not mid. So my two favorite genres. Well, my favorite genre really is action films.
Mm-hmm.
So when people ask me about my favorite action movie, it's always the same: Mad Max Fury Road.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But when people ask me about my second favorite action film, it's John Wick.
Nice.
Nice.
And why am I not talking about Mad Max? Because Mad Max is hard to talk about.
It very much is.
And so I'm just going to talk about John Wick.
Nice.
Because that's easier to discuss. So the John Wick trilogy tells of a man named, get this, John Wick,
Hype.
a retired hitman who recently left his organization to grieve alone with his for his dead wife.
Mm-hmm.
But then upon her death, he receives a gift from her, a dog.
A
Her
cute puppy.
like a really cute, awesome puppy named Daisy.
And
a final
nothing bad ever happened at the end.
No, nothing ever happens to dogs in movies, dude. So this dog, the last remnant of his wife, the last memory he has of her, is eventually killed by some Russian crime lords, or at least the son of a Russian crime lord.
Basically, the actor is Theon Greyjoy from Game of Thrones, so you know he's just going to be a total shit eater.
But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of the same story of how these stories go. John Wick just kind of
he deals with it and then he doesn't do anything, and
he just kind of grieves. Yeah, totally. So yeah, I mean, he just kind of gets out of retirement and just slaughters these guys. And so, what I love about John Wick really is like, so many action films, like, they really follow the same element. Like, a guy's like wife or son gets like killed, a story that we've heard like 100 times before. But like, the thing is, by putting a dog in there, it like adds so much relatability and like
it really
like, emotion to it.
It gets you
because like someone will be like, "Oh, his son is killed," whatever. But like you see like his puppy like dead,
and he like bonds with it, and it's like fucked up.
Yeah, like he would like ride his car with it. It was
the dog was so fucking cute.
Right. But yeah, I feel like John Wick just wouldn't be the same if it just follows that element, just follows that formula we've seen.
No,
I think this might be the first time that all three people have seen The Thing.
It might be. It's interesting.
Yeah, because
yeah,
I love John Wick. It's really,
me too.
So here's the thing, like I for a long time I really slept on John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
Like really? I really just passed it off as like a really cheesy B action film. Like the guy from Bill and Ted and Matrix, what has he done in the past 10 years?
He's done everything in the past 6 months.
No, right. No, by the time of John Wick, I just generally care, really. And then like, but I always see posts being like, "Oh, you gotta watch John Wick. You gotta watch John Wick. No, seriously, you gotta watch it." I'm like, okay, I guess I'll watch it. And here we are. And it's just like, it blew my mind. It's so easy to pass off John Wick as just another like corny action film.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's so like well done from like a cinematography and like lighting perspective. It's just flawless.
It really is the simplest shit, but it's like done so well.
It's like kung fu with guns. It's awesome.
It is. It's. I feel like one of like the easiest thing to point to in terms of innovative action in the modern decade. Like this and maybe the Raid movies are both like these just sort of like, but specifically we're talking about John Wick here. These sort of tent poles of finding new ways to innovate in an established formula, and it's just utilized so effectively. None of the money, none of the budget was wasted at all. It's a
steak of a movie.
It really is. It really is. It
takes the revenge formula we've seen so many times and just like does something totally new with it.
Mm-hmm. And it helps that like every single character in that movie is like, because like sometimes how in like movies when like the action hero shows up, everyone like all the guys will just be like, "I can take this, it's fine." Who the fuck is Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like, what a bitch. It like whenever anyone hears that John Wick is coming to kill you, They just
They're like, oh shit.
shit their pants immediately.
And if you don't, you're the dumb asshole.
It's
we
really
need to talk about like the best part of the film. So there's a mechanic who works for John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
The crime lord's son who killed his dog goes to the garage and tells him he killed John Wick's dog, right?
Yeah.
And so the mechanic just punches him.
It's awesome.
And they tell the crime lord all that. I forget his name. I forgot his name all of a sudden. Damn. The guy calls the mechanic, and the mechanic is like, "Hey, why did you punch my son?" And he just goes, "Well, sir, because your son killed John Wick's dog." and all it needs is just the guys going, "Oh." And that's the end. That's the end of that discussion. That's all he needed.
Fair enough.
That's all he needed. He did not need.
I guess
like,
my son's dying.
John Wick is coming for us now.
Yeah, it's. Oh my god!
It would be so easy for the guy to be like, "Yeah, like I can take him," but he's like, "Oh no, he's actually a threat."
Yeah.
It's like it's so interesting to see the antagonist shitting their pants about having to face the protagonist.
It's like, and
it's refreshing as fuck.
You never see that.
Like the only time that's like broken is like when they have a like the female assassin who's the dumbest character in the movie.
And she's played by Andrea Padalecki, who is Mockingbird on Agents of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah,
she might be the worst part of the movie.
I liked her.
I like her, but only because she's like stupid. Because her plan is, I'll just kill John Wick
in the hotel where it is forbidden.
She'll let
then gets killed.
Oh yeah. Fuck, we haven't even talked about the Continental at all.
Oh yeah. So like, real quick. So John Wick 1 really like has such an interesting universe, and it sort of gets touched upon, right, in this movie, and then it just goes all out in the sequels,
which is boring.
Where they really like bring more stuff about this stuff.
Yeah, like one of the most unique and interesting aspects about the universe itself to me is that not even getting to the Continental, is that it's like the understanding that comes between like this specific like world of hitmen and like Johnny Law, because like there's like a moment when like the police like show up after like a bunch of shots go off in like John Wick's house, and they show up and like the cop just gets to the door, he sees something's going on in John Wick, he just looks at it and he's like, "You guys you working again?" And he's like, "Cause like yeah, maybe."
It's so interesting that everyone knows who John Wick is, but they just like don't mess with him.
Yeah, because it's like I heard the like the description of an explanation of that by the director or like someone where they said the reason is because in the entirety of the first John Wick movie, at least, not a single innocent person is killed.
That's true. Yeah.
Which is it's awesome.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's really cool because it's like so it's like this movie trims out all the unnecessary shit from the genre that it's in. And it's like and because there's like an agreement like when you between like the hitmen and like the police, like if you enter that world, you're no longer basically going to be protected or investigated by the police. They'll as long as nobody kills anyone innocent, they'll stay the fuck out of business. And it's like that's so interesting, and there's so much like to explore with that. And then there's like all this stuff about the Continental.
Yeah, I mean the action is just so exquisite. There's no like crazy cutaways, no shaky cams, and all that garbage. So it's just like you see everything.
Yeah, I think isn't there? There might be a bit of shaky cam at some point, but it's like the framing
Not
is
to the point where it becomes nauseating. Like
I know. It's like
So-
this is the shit that everyone's been like trying to tell people, that it's like, yeah, a couple movies did shaky cam really, really well, but it's like it can be effective. Of course it can.
Yeah.
But like so few people do it well. And it's like so often used as a crutch to hide fight choreography, and like, it makes you feel like you're right in there with them. But like it's more
Like,
satisfying.
I don't care. I don't want to be in it. I just want to see it.
Yeah,
If I wanted to be, I just train and become John Wick.
Because John Wick is really the type of guy who, like, if you like do anything passive aggressive to him,
Yeah.
he shoots you like 5 times in the chest and then the head just to make sure you're dead.
Well, no, it's good because it's awesome when he's like wrecking noobs and stuff, and like killing everyone. He's like
noobs.
He's like he only ever takes headshots unless it's a shot to set up a cooler headshot.
Yeah.
It's so good. He'll like shoot someone like through a cabinet in the knee so they fall on so he can shoot them in the head.
But yeah, I mean, that's John Wick, and I encourage pretty much everyone to see them.
Yes.
See it. All the movies.
Yeah.
As much as I really just want to go into the sequels, that's going to be like a long ass time.
Yeah.
And
I've only seen
apparently-
2,
yeah.
1 and 2.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I very much want to talk about 2, but Dre has not seen it, asshole.
Sorry, dude. It was just really boring. So
I do consider
watching.
John Wick 2 like maybe the perfect action film. I mean, there's so much to talk about, but that's a whole different story.
It's damn near close.
So,
I'm just kidding, everybody. I just had a headache, so I couldn't finish it. This isn't like me talking about
Breaking
I have a headache.
news.
I'm gonna watch
Dre thinks John Wick is boring and Keanu Reeves sucks in everything he's ever.
I didn't say that. I'm not. Listen, it's way better than that piece of shit Homecoming. I'm just saying. I would never give a controversial film opinion on this one.
hey, Homecoming is a good show.
No, he doesn't hate Homecoming as much as like he puts on to like play this weird character.
Don't kill my gimmick.
I'm exposing the business.
Okay, Dre, Dre, you had a time machine. Would you rather like kill Hitler or stop Homecoming from existing?
Listen, dude. I know what happens if I stop Homecoming. I don't know what happens if I kill Hitler. I'm just saying.
John Wick, perfect trilogy, and yeah, I think that's all I have to say for now.
The character they introduced, the Babadook, in the Dark Universe.
Yes.
Oh my god.
This is the Dark Universe episode, and it's awesome. Just more shitting on Universal is fine by me. But okay, now that that's going, I am so excited to talk about this next thing that Dre has presenting. We've been going back and forth for like months waiting for this to happen and who is going to get to bring it to the podcast. So basically, consider this a presentation from both of us. But Dre, what are you bringing to the podcast? I'm so excited.
Okay. So I've been looking forward to this for months, and it's finally here, and I have to say, now that Tugrats is out,
No! Burn it with fire! Burn it! No! This is a family show, Dre. Don't Google Tugrats, you fine children at home.
Okay, but now you're just gonna be like, oh, he told me to not Google Tugrats. I wonder how bad it is.
Oh no!
So I'm gonna look
just
it up.
bleep it out. I just want to give Carroll more work editing. All right.
You suck!
Okay. So we all like wrestling, right?
Yes! My hands up. I like wrestling.
Yeah,
Me.
Yeah,
All right.
I think I've seen one of those before.
All right. So
I've seen Nacho Libre.
awesome.
Fair.
Okay. So
You know more than Dave Meltzer.
so the kind of growing sentiment around like wrestling fans and like the wrestling community, right, has been, the big company everyone knows, WWE, has been kind of unsatisfying recently, right?
Maybe a little.
Yeah, a little. So, basically, what I'm talking about is All Elite Wrestling, which is the first new major American promotion to start up since WCW closed.
What about TNA?
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. That stands for tits and ass.
It really does. They named their company that.
So, all Elite Wrestling is basically made up of a bunch of I guess you'd say formerly indie superstars, not superstars actually, wrestlers.
Professional wrestlers.
One
superstar, one former superstar.
One former. Based off of kind of an indie faction called the Elite, which
it spun off of the group that was that T-shirt that you might have seen once or twice, the Bullet Club, which is this. To put it simply, it's not really all that relevant to this, but I'll just to give you a brief overview. There's a company in Japan called New Japan Pro Wrestling, and there was a group of non-Japanese wrestlers who banded together to create a group called the Bullet Club. They ran, roughshod over the company for many years. They sold a lot of T-shirts, and so this subgroup called the Elite was an offshoot of that group, who's now coming back to America to establish its own its own unique wrestling as a almost direct competitor to the largest wrestling company in America for the last 20 years.
So it's kind of a hard thing to explain to a non-wrestling fan, but basically it's a completely different wrestling promotion. No real relation to WWE, just its own new story. It's a
you might recognize some people.
Marvel to WWE's DC.
Kind of. Well, I guess. But it's you might recognize some wrestlers because they do have some people. They do have some people that are, had worked for WWE in the past. Probably the person who's in the company that even if you don't know a ton about wrestling, you may or may not have heard of Chris Jericho before. He's the world champion of AEW. You may have heard of Dean Ambrose before. Probably not, but he's now going under the name John Moxley and is in AEW. The senior vice president of the company is Cody Rhodes, who you may remember from in WWE and also under the gimmick Stardust.
And his brother, Goldust, who is now Red, and going by his real name.
Yeah. So if you have some familiarity with WWE, recognize some characters, but you definitely don't need to have any familiarity with wrestling at all, to jump right into it.
Right. So AEW's existed for a little over half a year now. They've been doing pay-per-views. He was a bunch of pay-per-views in the months leading up to this that me and Carroll were watching. But their TV show started 4 weeks ago now. We're
and it's fucking good.
We're a little ways into it, and yes, it's amazing. It is a show that is consistently improving and was always good. It started off great.
Yeah.
And it's just a logical wrestling show. With unique characters, and here's the difference between this and in WWE. While WWE is trying to I don't really know what they're trying to do. I don't really know what their goal is, and that's kind of.
Oh, they're trying to get Shane McMahon over.
Yeah. Well, AEW Dynamite is the official name of the TV show, and what it's trying to do is a show about making stars. It's a show about making people who you didn't know look cool.
Yeah.
And it does such a good job of it. It feels so fresh and new and young. Everybody there is so young and has so much of a future ahead of them. And except for the major villain. so far. Chris Jericho, who's the oldest
well,
dude
and
in the
Dustin.
company. And Dustin.
But yeah, that's sort of like the point. Yeah, it's like, this, God, where to even begin? It's just the show. It's just like if you've never watched an episode of WWE Monday Night Raw, now's not really a good time to start. But that's that's another thing. You'll be familiar with certain, because the shows have like the same writers and tweaks. So if you watch a show long enough, you can sort of see the outline of the show. And a lot of one of the big, sticking points that a lot of the WWE programs have is that they don't start the show with a wrestling match. They'll start the show with an opening promo by one of like the main characters or by an authority figure who, in the storyline has the power to sort of make matches and sort of pick who fights who. And, on paper, that doesn't sound like necessarily all that bad of a thing. And if used in moderation, it's not that bad, but it gets so grating and annoying to have to listen to like 20 minutes of talking heads before you get to the thing you came here for.
I'll put it like this. Wrestling shows used to be an hour long. It wasn't too long ago that Raw had an episode that didn't have its first wrestling match start until 40 minutes into it.
Jesus fuck, dude. It takes so long. And I just like, every time I load up an episode of AEW Dynamite, it's just like, I'm so happy to see a wrestling match when I start. And it's like, it'll get to the point that like, I'll be like hype when they don't do that because I want to see what's so important.
Yeah, the show is like, it show's so good. Here's the thing. It doesn't, AEW is not even putting on really the greatest matches on the TV show, at least. I
disagree.
There are lots of good ones, but the show it's competing against on the same day, NXT, which is a WWE product, but kind of different for reasons I won't get into.
It used to be used as a feeder system. To sort of get younger developmental wrestlers experience working on TV, so that when they sort of quote unquote graduate onto the main heavily marketed shows, that they have some experience and they're not just like a fish out of water.
Ha ha.
Oh, I was using that unironically. Okay.
Oh, but I watched that show. Usually the week after I watch AEW, and on balance, the matches on NXT are better. But the way the show is structured, the way the show is presented, it doesn't inspire much passion. While it's a technically solid show, it doesn't feel like it's leading to anything. It doesn't feel the storylines don't feel like they're particularly helping the wrestlers there. While in AEW, every episode so far has felt very deliberate. Every segment has felt like it has a purpose and they have like a plan going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though the wrestling might not be the best, even a bad match still feels like a net positive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, personally, in my opinion, I think that AEW, I'll agree with you mostly, but I also think that AEW Dynamite has the best tag team wrestling on TV right now, bar none.
It does.
Just like the sure, if you watch like some takeover, some NXT takeover, or their NXT's big special event shows, you could get some stuff that might outshine some of the stuff that AEW does. But keep in mind that's that you view that on a paid subscription service, and anyone who has a basic cable package who can watch TNT can tune in and watch some of the best tag team wrestling in the world coming from AEW, and it's remarkable.
Yeah, and okay, so there's a lot of good things I could talk about this show. I think the thing I want to emphasize the most, though, is Mr. Chris Jericho. Mr. I lost the belt the week I got it.
What a fucking lad. No,
okay.
The day. So
you
didn't have it for a day.
I'll walk you through this.
All right.
So they had a show a couple months ago called All Out. That was where they decided their first champion. Chris Jericho beat Hangman Page to win the world title.
Okay.
Less than 24 hours later, Chris Jericho loses his belt.
He doesn't lose it in the match. He just like puts it down and then doesn't remember where, and then it's gone.
Like no one beat him for it. He was going to a steakhouse and it got lost in his in some weird luggage arrangement. And so Chris Jericho goes on his Twitter, records a video of him chilling out in a jacuzzi with his scarf on in the jacuzzi, drinking wine,
champagne,
drinking bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly,
and puts out a hit on the dude who took it from him.
It's
That's
so
awesome.
good.
And eventually the belt was found on Craigslist and delivered back to him.
He knew John Wick was coming for him.
It's so good.
This Chris Jericho turns everything he touches into gold. He fucked up majorly and then got his fuck up over. Got his fuck up making people didn't believe it was a fuck up.
Easily?
Huh?
How can you lose the belt so easily?
Don't know. Nobody knows.
It's the allure of steak. It's the sweet allure of steak. The dude who found it apparently found it on his birthday, and he thought,
"Oh, nice! Happy birthday, dude!"
Yeah, he just found it on the side of the road. By the way, this belt's fucking thousands of dollars, and it was just found on the side of a road on some dude coming back from his birthday party. It was awesome. Chris Jericho is the best heel. That's a wrestling terminology for a villain. In WWE, the promotion is obsessed with making its villains have heat, which is just fan engagement, booze, basically.
Yeah.
So what they'll do is they'll have heels kick the shit out of their baby faces, and then get all the
baby faces is the term for heroes. And
yes,
a
heroes.
Good guy, a protagonist.
What they do is they have their heels win and get all these good one-liners off on the heroes. They'll basically make their heroes look like absolute shit just so people don't like their heels.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, and it doesn't work. It just makes everybody look bad.
Yeah.
It's dumb bullies picking on loser nerds.
Mm-hmm.
While in AEW, Chris Jericho he's the heel champion, and he's beaten the guy who had the most buzz in going into the company, Kenny Omega. He beat the upcoming Hangman Page, and he just beat this sort of indie darling, sort of super exciting superstar called Darby Allin. But he still feels like a proper heel because he is he is a sad human being.
He's just this whiny, petulant, sniveling little shitbird.
He's this 50-year-old dude walking around in these obnoxious suits. He comes out to matches wearing a fedora with lipstick on, with a spiked jacket, and his dad gut.
and the music that he comes out to is from his fucking band.
He makes fun of people for wearing scarves, as he'll wear scars himself.
It's so good.
That's so awesome.
He'll in the last episode of AEW, they had maybe one of the best segments of the year, in wrestling, just this entire year. Here, where he wasn't officially booked on the show, he just showed up, bought his ticket, and he was sitting in the back of the arena
in a VIP suite.
Yeah.
Should we explain about the inner circle before, just to contextualize it?
He has a group of homies.
He has a group of homies, and they're awesome.
So Cody Rhodes, the guy, he has a pay-per-view coming up. The VIP, or the vice president of the company, everybody loves him. He comes out to make an announcement, and Chris Jericho, him and his inner circle, his friends, they are being the most obnoxious of dicks. They bring air horns and they're just fucking hollering them. They're throwing popcorn everywhere. He gets a microphone and blows an air horn into it.
And while saying boo, boo, boo.
And he starts yelling at Cody. Oh, yeah, I'm calling him an entitled punk ass bitch millennial. You know,
I got him.
and you can't do anything about it because I bought my tickets. I'm a paying customer. And Cody Rhodes, who is just this great baby face, brings out all his friends, his family, and they all go up to the VIP area to kick Chris Jericho's ass. And if this was WWE, it's 4 people. It's Chris Jericho has 4 people, including himself. Cody has 4 people, including himself. If it was WWE, Chris Jericho and his friends would just beat them all up.
Yeah.
But instead,
and I will say,
That's
sometimes
awesome.
WWE brawls can be fun.
yes, they can.
Just like out and out brawls, like back when like the master of that, I felt like was a guy who's now in AEW, Dean Ambrose, now Jon Moxley. He's so good at like the backstage kind of, or like the out and out like fighting, brawling like aspect of it. But like the writing behind it can get great.
And yeah, and this felt everything about this. I'm going over it in the broad strokes, but every little detail of this makes it better. So the payoff for this brawl is so much more satisfying.
It's so nice.
Chris Jericho and his friends, they hide in a little room with a window, and they're all so satisfied that they're hiding and they can't get away, and they're in this locked room. Chris Jericho keeps waving around his ticket like it means anything. And Chris Jericho made fun of Cody Rhodes' friend's scarf, which is funny because he had an entire gimmick around a scarf for like a year, and Cody just asked for his friend's scarf, wraps it around his hands, punches through a glass window, and a brawl just breaks out, going all the way into like the arena floor.
Yeah, or just like out, like almost like to the outside. You know, if you like go into an arena, you ever been to like a basketball game? You'll like there's just like all the areas like the stands for like where you buy all the jerseys and like the Dippin' Dots ice cream machine.
Exactly.
They just like these guys are getting slammed into the ice cream. It's so good.
Cody drowns Chris Jericho in Dipping Dots.
It's awesome.
and the police get called and Cody gets pulled back because Chris Jericho has his ticket, and you know the brawl ends. But the last shot of it is so crucial because Chris Jericho is beaten. He's been drowned in Dipping Dots. He's been made to look like a fool. But Cody's getting taken away. And so Chris Jericho technically gets the last laugh, and he goes, "I have my ticket."
It's so good.
I have my ticket, and you're getting taken away. He is the best heel.
Because he's such a fucking loser.
He's this fucking loser 50-something who spent his evening throwing popcorn at a crowd and yelling boo into a microphone, and then gets drowned in Dipping Dots for it.
It's so satisfying.
And
it's so nice because you see a guy where you'd be like, I want to see that guy get his ass kicked. And then he does.
But he still feels important.
He does feel important because in the end, he's in this position of power. He's the first ever AEW champion. He's got this belt. He's got this fucking his squad, his home, that they're just these. He surrounded himself with some of the best wrestling talent in the world just to make himself look cool. See, I have cool friends, but they're all assholes just like him.
Exactly.
And he calls them the inner circle, where he's the linchpin. He's the most important guy, and it's just like, and it's just like a masterfully constructed group of people too. But that takes like some explaining, so I suppose we really shouldn't get into that.
Yeah, AEW Dynamite is just a fan-fucking-tastic show. It's like it's frequently the highlight of my week.
Very much so.
It is, and it's just
my fucking mom likes it.
You don't listen. If you're not a wrestling fan, shred. If you're not a wrestling fan, just check out the first couple episodes because it's just good television. It's good stories. It's like
I am
engaging.
definitely intrigued to watch this.
It's like prime, and it's just like it emphasizes a lot in like the programs, like the athleticism and the sport and like the sport element of it, without coming off as like obnoxious and unearned. Like a lot of the time, it can come off of in WWE. It's just look at these two look at these like two prime athletes beating the fuck out of each other, and they make that interesting with story beats and relatable characters and all of this new exciting intrigue. I'm so scared because I feel like a lot of time we're still kind of in like the honeymoon phase with AEW because the show is so new. They really haven't fucked up yet.
Like there's issues, but it's nothing. Like it feels like the women's division. It's underwhelming so far.
Yeah,
but that's like the biggest knock I have against it, and it's still
they also don't have the same amount of like star power like the men's roster has, so it's going to take some time.
Also, the women's belt looks like ass.
Okay, yeah, it's way too small.
It's toy.
It's fucking child. Also, like the women's champion's like 98 pounds.
Yeah,
I love Riho. She's great.
Okay, so if you want to check it out, they actually have a secondary show on YouTube where they put their dark matches, which are basically when you go to a live show, like a live TV taping for the episode, they'll have some matches before and after the show officially ends.
Yeah, basically the matches before are to kind of to get the crowd like warmed up and like excited and like hyped to see the show, so you know they don't have to like build in like an unenthusiastic crowd in the beginning of the show, that like everyone can be really excited right away. And then the end of the show and then at the end of the show they'll have something to sort of, because like after like the big high, you know, everyone, like a lot of people just leave right after that, but like sometimes it helps to like go down a peg and just kind of like have something sort of simple to like play the crowd out, and that's what AEW Dark showcases.
Yeah,
and it's free on YouTube. You don't even need TV.
Yeah, it's spottier than the main show, but it is just an hour of wrestling. Most of it's pretty good, and they actually have some stuff on there that I wish they put on the main show, like promos. There needs to be more promos on the TV show. That's another issue. There's some, but there should be a little bit more.
Yeah. I actually haven't seen any of AEW Dark.
It can be very good. If you want my recommendations, everyone talks about the Kenny Omega Joey Janela match that happened there a week or two ago, and the main event of the last episode, which will be out of date by the time this episode airs. So probably. It's the big 8-man tag.
Huh? Sounds good.
It's very fun, and I'd recommend that if you're not sold on watching the whole full 2 hours.
Yeah. Watch AEW, real good.
Yeah.
I think I'll have to check it out.
Nice!
Nice. Holy shit. That recommendation was successful. This is a first. All right. So that's it for this episode of the Geeks by Gaslight podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Special thanks to our producers, Dre Best, Ronnie Diaz, and Scott Heemster for making the show possible. Thanks to our special editor, Guthrie Schooner, and for Mr. Luke Rex for coming on the show this fine month. We really loved having you on.
Hey, it was an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me on, dude.
If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and leave follow us on Twitter and join our Discord. The links to all that will be down in the description below. And be sure to keep it locked right here for brand new episodes of the Geeks by Gaslight podcast every single goddamn month. But until then, take it easy, nerds.